not only on the high end, because there are also very high end medical facilities in Zimbabwe where people come from all over the world, even from South Africa and otherwise.
If Zimbabwe's healthcare system is so elite, why are Zimbabwean officials begging South Africa to treat their citizens for free? Because I don't get it. I really don't get it. I am confused.
Come together and devise ways of coming up with lasting solutions, like what I can call a root cause approach, to ensure that Zimbabweans, like all human beings, and all as South Africans who are in South Africa, also enjoy their rights freely, because there should not be conflict around this.
Let me paraphrase it for you guys. Jessie, the Zimbabwean human rights person, she says, we want Zimbabwean in South Africa to enjoy their rights freely, just like South Africans. Meanwhile, a while ago, a South African stranded in Zimbabwe had to be airlifted out of Zimbabwe because Jessie's high-end hospitals didn't treat him.
Also, on the South African side, I think there's also need for, in my very respectful view, increased understanding of sometimes the needs of people and the needs of nations at different times. I want to go as far as to say that possibly also during the struggle for South Africa's independence, a lot of African countries, including Zimbabwe, hosted South Africans who were there, not of their own making.
That was asylum. Asylum, it's not equivalent to a free subscription to South Africa's public health system or public hospital. A free access to public health in South Africa that is not even offered to even South African citizens in Zimbabwe. Asylum is not equivalent to a lifetime of a free public health access, of free healthcare access in South Africa. That's not equivalent.
And so, that humanity, that Ubuntu, that we Africans have, I think should continue to pervade and lead such discussions and such actions, because at the end of the day, we really are one people. There might be issues here, issues there, but it does not detract from our human and, let me say, African dignity. And we must, of course, find these solutions and these conflicts.
Jesse, ultimately, this is being called and I suppose labeled as xenophobic. Would you agree with that notion that indeed it is xenophobic, or is it just in many ways South Africans saying that they're looking out for themselves and ensuring that their healthcare is also able to look out for them too? Because some feel that they aren't able to get the healthcare that they also deserve, and that instead it is foreign nationals that perhaps are being prioritized here.
I have to be frank and say that this is xenophobic.
I am actually very much stunned that someone like her would actually come and have an interview like this. There's a lot of contradictions and misdirections in a lot of her statements. One of them is that Zimbabwe has a very high-end medical facilities, while in reality, even the former president of Zimbabwe, died not in Zimbabwe, but in Singapore. So if Zimbabwean system is truly high-end, why is she begging for free access in South Africa? Why was Robert Mugabe, treated in Singapore? Why was he treated in Singapore? I'm a little bit confused by that. So this statement doesn't help her. Really, it doesn't help her to convince the South African public to be able to have what she claims to be a mutual respect. At the same time, she's advocating for that mutual respect, and then in reality, her statement is very insulting. She is insulting South Africans by implying they're being xenophobic and ungrateful, which is a contradiction in a way that she uses apartheid and liberation struggle guilt to emotionally manipulate South African public. Statement like, we hosted South Africans during apartheid. In reality, yes, true, for exiles and freedom fighters, mainly ANC people. But that was diplomatic asylum, not long-term free public health care access. Because asylum is not equivalent to lifetime entitlement to a free public health care system. Because current South African resources are under democratic mandate, meaning the government must actually provide healthcare to its citizens who were excluded under apartheid. Right now, the people who are living in this community, they don't see any difference between the current democratic South Africa and the apartheid South Africa. In fact, some of them feel like they are far worse off due to this problem here of this influx of really high number who are unregulated, unaccounted for into their public health system, into the public schools. They're really crowding that the current ANC government is not listening to. And that's why they're at 42%. And I look forward to see them sitting at the backbench, not being in opposition. Oh, I look forward to that day. I've got a wine of mine in the, a correct wine. So when that happens, I'll open one of my best wine and drink it here. Because that day it looks like it's a little bit sooner than, much closer. That day where ANC will be sitting at the bench, being in opposition, it's a little bit closer. Much closer. That one. Just continue with this madness. We'll continue.